Good morning. My name is Richard Wexler, and this is Caring in America, the podcast for caregivers. So, folks, I want to use an expression that probably goes back 40, 50 years. Let's get real. I talk about on every episode what happened in my life. 20 years ago, I didn't think, because I wasn't thinking about it, that my wife and our two small children would wind up caring for all four of our parents. And the fact that it lasted 14 years. Again, I don't know what we were thinking, that some magic thing would happen and they would be fine. I mean, I was into my career. My wife had her career from our home. The kids were in school and sports and dance and all these things going on. And I just wasn't thinking about what if. And what I've been talking about in all these episodes is what if. And the fact that you got a couple options. I mean, I'm a boomer. I'm 70 years old. We don't age, but we do. But this country spends about $50 billion a year on anti-aging stuff. Look, I'm 70. I'm hoping I got 20 plus years left. I'm at the gym 3 days a week. I'm golfing when it's nice weather. I'm trying to move my body and do the stuff that's going to get me another 20 plus years. I'm not even sure how I got here to 70, but I did. And there's millions around the country like me, and there's millions around the country that could be in their 30s, 40s, and moms and dads are in their 60s, 70s, and they still have grandparents alive that may be 80s, 90s, or even older. And from all the research and all the things I've learned over 18 years of doing this, most folks are doing what I did. They're not thinking about older loved ones and stuff happening. They're so involved with just getting through every day in their own life and earning money and paying bills and hopefully having some fun. I get it. I've been there. But I talk about this four-letter word on every episode called plan. I've stood in front of thousands of people and talked about this over the years, and people look at me like, why would I want to do that? And I tell people when I would get up in front of them, this topic's not fun. But we've talked about with a lot of fantastic guests, it's not easy. And it's really not easy when you don't plan. When all of a sudden you get the phone call, you get the text, you get an email that mom's fell on her back or dad's been diagnosed with some disease, or grandma, was driving and got hit and she's hurt. Stuff happens. And we talk about most kids, not all, most kids, for jobs, for relationships, for both, have moved away from where mom and dad are or were. And now something happens to them, and they're flying back, driving back, trying to figure out what's going to go on, thinking about their own life. How are we going to handle all this? Folks, we're walking into the holidays. It's been known pretty much forever in the elder care industry. Things get crazy. As Joy Laverty and I talked about, things get crazy. Kids start coming home. The grandparents come home. The grandkids come home to the grandparents' house, etc. And all of a sudden, you look at mom or dad or grandparents and you haven't seen them in a while, and you kind of go, oh, they look different. They're acting different. They're walking different. Yeah, that $50 billion not to age, but guess what? Let's get real. We age. I don't know how many of you have had a car for a long time and it's going great for all these years, and then something starts happening. We're not that different. So I talk about it all the time. When that stuff happens, and you and maybe some brothers and sisters, or maybe you're an only child, come driving in or flying in to where mom's flat on her back, or dad or grandparents, and start thinking about, well, what's next? Praying to get through surgery and get through this hospitalization, and then trying to figure out and understand what skilled nursing is and how long are they going to be there, and how is that paid for if they're over 65, probably on Medicare. And then start thinking about, well, what's going to happen when they leave skilled nursing? And as we've talked about, there's really a few options. They're going to come live with you like we did. You're going to go live with them like we did. You're going to bring in a neighbor to help them. How often can they be there? 24 hours a day? I doubt it. Or a friend. You're going to look at possibly moving them to an assisted living. What's that, a nursing home? No, it's beautiful. There's skilled nursing, which isn't a nursing home, and there's assisted living. And you're going to look into that. Probably not realize there's placement people out there to help you. Start going through the internet, phone book if you still have one, trying to figure out what places are out there and what might be a good place for mom, dad, grandma, etc. Or, since most people want to die with their boots on, they want to stay home. But let's get real. Not going to work for a lot of people, especially if the kids, let's say the kids are even close. They live 2 miles from mom's house. Dad's already passed. Mom's broken her hip. Mom's going to need help. Are you just going to give up your life? I understand what that's like. And what are you going to do with your job? And what are you going to do with your kids? It's really difficult. Then you look into hiring someone, and you have no idea what it costs. And yes, you can find someone private off the street, maybe 20, 25 an hour, maybe more. Are they reliable? What's going to happen if they get sick? What's going to happen if their car doesn't start? And you've gone back to your home, whether it's 3 miles away or 3,000 miles away. Or you're going to look into some reputable home care company, a mom and pop that grew up and was built in the community where mom lives, or a national franchise. And as we're talking about, the average cost now for that is about $33 an hour. In the bigger cities, you're talking north of $40 an hour. Never talked about this. Never planned for it. Where's that money going to come from? Mom and dad have so much. You have so much. Are there brothers and sisters? Are they willing to contribute? Let's back up. Let's get real. The holidays are coming. Joy Laverty's advice. Family meeting before the holidays. Let's talk. Hey, mom's 78. Dad's 82. What are we expecting? What if we see something we don't expect? What are we going to do? And then out of all the brothers and sisters, or again, there just may be the one child. Who's going to talk to them? How's mom going to take this? How is dad going to take this? How are they going to take this horrible conversation? They don't want to think they're getting old either. They still want to be 16 and in high school, or 30 and freshly married, or whatever the case may be. But now they have aged. Then we start talking about, and I've talked about this a lot in a lot of episodes, and let's get real. People work with other people, financial planners, estate planners, hopefully put an estate plan together. Someone winds up in the hospital, there's social workers and case managers and discharge planners, and nurses and and certified nursing aides. Folks, I'm talking to you, the professionals. I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but it applies to a lot. How do I know that? Because I've talked to a lot of you. You need to understand when your patient gets discharged. Are they going home? Are they going to skilled nursing? How long are they going to be there? When they leave skilled nursing, what's next? You need to be having that conversation with the patient in the hospital. You need to be having this conversation, if you're the financial planner, many, many years earlier. The same for the estate planner. I've been told, I don't need to know this. I mean, someone else. No, someone else is not going to teach people about this. Someone else is not going to put the financial plan in regard to elder care together. That's you, the elder care planner, advisor, etc. You're the estate planner. You need to know how aging fits in with that estate plan. My point, this is all happening around the family, but there's a lot of pieces that touch the family. And we're at the point now, let's get real, where we'll get to that someday. Or someone, no, we're not. We got to get to it now. And you have to be the ones that are talking to this family, not someone else. I mean, that's real. Let's get real. Because I've said this a lot. I think I've said it in some of the episodes. What really concerns me, I'm this little old guy in Idaho with this podcast talking about this. I don't see conversation at state capitals around the country. I don't see conversations about this in Washington, D.C. Are we okay? It's not real. We don't need to talk about that. I know there's so much else going on in our country and around the world. I follow all of it. But someone else will take care of it. Why should we be talking about this? Where are people going to live as they age? Can they stay in an apartment, in a condo, in a townhouse they've been living at? Can they stay in their home? What happens if it really gets difficult for them to move around? Physical issues, mental issues, a combination of both. Then, let's get real. Where are they going to go? That assisted living, that memory care? Does the family have enough money for that? $4,500 on average around the country for assisted living. You're talking about $8,000 or so on average for memory care. Let's get real. This is real. I wish that $50 billion that we're spending on anti-aging, okay, we're not aging. Look at all the money we're spending. Look what a great job. Look at the surgery that I did on my body and how great my face looks. Let's get real. What's happening internally? What's happening emotionally? Folks, what I keep asking for, and I'm going to ask again, please share this podcast with all around you. Friends, associates, colleagues, clients, patients. If you're 30 plus, you need to listen to this and you need to understand how this is going to affect your life. And guess what? Here's the secret. We're all aging. And at some point, we're going to be the 65, 70, 75, 80, 85 plus year old. And if the costs are what they are now, what are they going to be in 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 years from now? Let's get real. Please share this. Please talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Have that family conversation, as Joy Laverde talks about, before you drive to mom or dad's house in 2 weeks or so from now for Thanksgiving, before Christmas. We didn't. And I talk about this all the time, how difficult it was. Yeah, I'm special. I got all 4. Most people aren't going to have to take care of all 4. But it happens. And I talk about with dementia and with Alzheimer's, which we're going to talk about more on the podcast, there's a very good likelihood that someone with those conditions may need care for well beyond 10 years. Think about that. 10 years. Their body physically is doing okay. Their mind isn't. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I want to get real. I want people, and I know it's a horrible topic, and I've said this, I don't know how many times, standing in front of people doing a presentation on Zoom. It's not fun. I get it. But there's a lot of conversations in life that aren't fun. But it is real. And we got to get real. And at some point, your older mom, grandmother, father-in-law, stuff, if it hasn't already, stuff is going to happen. Yes, people are living well beyond 100. Not all people, some. But even folks that have made it that far, they're having certain issues. So as I get ready to wrap this up, that's why I'm doing this. Trying to get people to understand, no, it's not fun. No, I don't like the conversation. No, I don't want to talk about this. But you got a couple choices. You can ignore it, like we did. Possibly deal with it for 14 years, like we did. Or talk about it. Get real. Talk about what's going to happen if this or that happens and who's going to do what within a family. One person may be awesome with hands-on care. One person may be awesome handling someone's financial nature on a secure website on the internet. There's a lot of things we can do now that we couldn't do 15, 20 years ago. Do parents want to talk about it? No, I get that. We've given tips. Asking a parent for advice will normally get them to start a conversation. Let's get real. Folks, reach out to me. If you're an expert and want to potentially appear on the podcast, if you have stories personally about elder care, or you're an expert talking about care of a client or a patient, reach out to me. The email, once again, eldered2023@gmail.com. Folks, Until we talk again, have yourself an awesome day.